Good morning to everyone. It is really good for us to be back. Yet our park always has a special place in our hearts. As Bill has mentioned, that we've had this association for a very long time, and we are really grateful. We know that several has gone on to be, to be with the Lord and to go on to the eternal reward. But we are thankful for those that still remain here. Allow me also to take this time just to thank the ladies for yesterday, for the wonderful time that my wife had with all of you. Also for the men for cooking that excellent breakfast. I am still struggling. I'm a little heavier today than what I was yesterday. But grateful to be here. Let me also take this time and thank the church for your commitment in spite of very difficult circumstances across the entire globe that we experienced because of COVID, that you remained committed to the work and the support towards the work that we continue to do. You have no idea how much we appreciate you. Our Park Church of Christ is not strange to brethren in Southern Africa. When I say Southern Africa, it's not just South Africa. You will see on the map over here, this is South Africa over here. I'm talking about this entire region over here. Other neighboring countries are familiar with you in the sense that we tell them about, those that help us and allow us to do the work that we can do. Jesus has given us a command to go into all the world and to preach the gospel. And each one of us has that responsibility. And we have dedicated ourselves to that kind of work. Since we left here, when we came to school, it was with that purpose in mind, and was able to go back to South Africa and also neighboring countries to be able to teach them, but also to strengthen churches that were already established. And so you need to know that you are an integral part of that work. You may not be in South Africa or any of the places that we get to go to, but you are part of that work because you share in other ways in that work, because without you, we would not be able to do that. And we thank you for your dedication in that way. So I've mentioned that, and yes, when we went back, we originally were just in South Africa, and then later on, we started branching out. We went to Lesotho. We do work and send materials to to Swaziland, Mozambique, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Malawi, Zambia. All of these places we go to, and we send materials to, Bibles, tracts, and we'll talk some more through it. I'm not going to be able to get through all the slides. I must be honest with you. I had about 160 slides last night. I cut it down to 80, and I know I can only do 20. All right, but you are most welcome to look at it at a later time, and we'll be glad to, to answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to try and stop a little bit early this morning, and Bill's going to indicate to me and allow for any questions that anybody may have at that time that we could answer, and even later on during the day. Now, this way, yeah. So just to give an idea of some of the work that we are doing, especially for those that are not familiar with us and the work that we do. Yes, I'm a preacher and we establish congregations, but we work not just with one single congregation, but with many different congregations in Cape Town, as well as in South Africa and neighboring countries, as I've mentioned. So just some of the areas of work over here is Gugulethu. That would be our current home congregation at the moment, where we are, and that is in a tribal black area, but we have a lot of people from different countries there. We have Zimbabweans, we have Malawians, we have Xhosas, which are the black tribal people in Cape Town. We are considered colored, okay, and that's not a derogatory term in South Africa. It simply means that we are mixed. Give you an idea, you look at my wife, her father was a white man. Okay, he was an Afrikaner. Her mother was more or less my color. Okay, and the two of them married. That's what you got. All right, that's what you got. Now me, you look at me and you say, where does this guy come from? Okay, well, my grandfather from my mom's side was Indian. My grandmother from my mom's side was German. Oh my word. Okay, what a combination. So if you get crazy, you know why you're getting crazy. You've got Indian and German mixed over there. But we are thankful. These are some of the congregations that we are working with at the moment. There are others that we have worked with through the years, and that's not on this list. Many of these are just geographical towns, and you will find that there are more than one congregation in that particular town that we would go to and we would work with. In South Africa, most congregations do not have a located or a full-time preacher. All right, the men just do the work or they preach, and many of the congregations are struggling. For many years, we've had weak pulpits in the country, very weak pulpits, because there was no additional teaching that was happening. And what was happening also was our brothers were going to Bible bookshops that were denominational. They were getting denominational materials, and they were teaching that in the church because they didn't know any better. Well, since others and myself, we've gone back, we have made extreme efforts or done extreme efforts to correct those things so that we can get back to what the Word of God says. And that is, it has been good. It is good because we are holding to truth, and some didn't like to hold to truth, and some left the faith, and they've gone on and they've started other churches of their own. But we need to keep to truth, as John writes to us in 2nd and 3rd John. We have 2 daughters, and I think for some of you may not remember, they were just, Nicole was, 11 years old, and Lindsay was 16 years old when we came to this congregation. Well, Lindsay is 34 years old, and Nicole is 27 years old. They both have graduated from university with degrees. Nicole is in marketing. I had to check with her mom, what exactly does she do, because she's always doing something different. Nicole is the youngest one, and Lindsay is a qualified attorney, but she's not a practicing attorney at the moment. She works for one of the top 5 banks in South Africa called Net Group Trust, and she's a trust and estates practitioner, senior trust and estates practitioner. Let me move on. You can see that they have their mother's looks. You can see that, right? I mean, it's very obvious, but I promise you they have my brains. Don't tell Sandra, okay? I've put up this map for one reason, and that is to give you an idea as to where it is that our travels takes us and where we go. Right here at the bottom is Cape Town, right on that southern tip over there, the peninsula over there, and that's where we live, that's where our home is. And this is where we go all over. You can see into these different countries. We didn't go into Mozambique, but right just south of Mozambique, there's a Portuguese group that travels over from Mozambique, and we are sending the materials, and we have a brother up in Durban North that are teaching them. He's a retired preacher. He's in his 70s, but when we first learned about the situation, I contacted him, and he said, I would be most glad to do so. It will give me something to do because, he doesn't do much anymore. So again, just a different map also just to show you the different countries that we go to. So it's not just in South Africa, but it's now Southern Africa. We do distribution of tracts, Bibles, and all kinds of materials for World Video Bible School, World Bible School, and these go all over. And so what happens is that a container gets sent by Mission Printing, who is in Arlington, or they are in Arlington, Texas, and they send it to us. Then we do the distribution from Cape Town all the way to the different places. And that's most times we get a 20-foot container, and we've had one 40-foot, but it was too heavy to lift. We didn't have a big enough crane to lift it because of the paperweight that was there, so it was a struggle, and we decided to just keep it to the 20-foot containers. So our travels, just to give you an idea of the number of churches in some of these areas, and also the hours of drive when we do drive to these different places. Just when before we came here, we were in Zambia for 6 weeks, from June until, and we arrived back in South Africa on the 1st of August. We were home 2 weeks, and then we left for Port Elizabeth. I thought it's on there.
It's on there.
Yes, there it is. We went to Port Elizabeth, 9 hours drive from home, okay? We came back from Port Elizabeth that Monday, and we continue with the work in Cape Town as well. When we're traveling, it's not like I am not being, or we are not being, not bothered, but that people don't need us. We get called on a daily basis. It's my birthday, and you would today, and thank you for those that wish me. And but I promise you, the crazy birthday messages I got from South Africa throughout the night, I said, don't these people know? I told them there's a 7-hour difference between Texas and South Africa. Why are they bothering me in the middle of the night? And one of them was a happy birthday to our Texan, our fearless Texan brother. Crazy as it is. But this is to give you an idea of the amount of traveling that we do. When we first got back, we had a used vehicle. And I think within 3 years, we did over 100,000 miles within 3 years. Dina knows, she's been there. We've taken her to, with us to places so she could see where all these places are and how long it takes you to get there. And the Brethren are always ready to receive us and always willing to listen to us and to learn from us. And so that's what we do. These are some of the ministries. You can read through them. I'm not going to talk too much about it, except that I want to say that both Sandra and I yes, we work together. We're a husband and wife team, but Sandra has her own work and ministry over and above what I do. Sandra does work in Cape Bible School, which is a school that we started in South Africa to teach people, both men and women, not a preacher school, but a Bible school. And Sandra has a work that she does in there. In fact, she was one of the ladies' teachers for a very long time. But she does all the administrative work, and I've now loaded all the grading also onto her, and so that, I have a little bit more time to do that. Our daughter Lindsay is currently assisting us with doing all the Zoom meetings and things. And so we have the family that comes in. Nicole is on the marketing and design side, and Nicole has helped to design our logos and things like that for us. And so the family still gets pulled in to assist us, even though these days they want to get paid by me. But it doesn't always happen. They know that. So I would like to show you just over the past number of years, you can see the amount of congregations that has been established and we have been part of. Okay, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 21 congregations. That has been started, since then. These are all in Zambia, here at the bottom. We do a lot of work in Zambia. There's a huge concentration. People are hungry for the word over there. And, I have invitations all the time. And when we leave, it's like, well, you didn't come to us yet. And, the same thing with my wife. In fact, we had to squeeze one in Sumabulumbi. Yeah, I've got to get used to some of the names. Wasn't on our schedule to visit there, but we had promised people previously, and my wife said, we cannot do that, we have to go there. And so I was in another area when I got back that Sunday. We changed everything. I ended up going there. Now, when you arrive there, Bill, you better be ready to preach. Okay, that's their custom. The visiting, preacher, he's the one that's going to preach that morning for them. And so we are thankful for those opportunities that God has granted us. Some of these pictures over here is congregations. This is the Guguletu congregation over here. We meet in a classroom in a school. The land is a problem in Cape Town. It's very developed. It's a city area. There's very little land available. We have a problem whereby we have too many people and too little land. We also have the problem of having an overpopulated area because of the amount of foreigners and people that has come into our country because of, and illegally as well. Those that are legal, but we have a lot of illegal immigrants, not just from the African continent, but also from places like Pakistan, from India, and many other places as well. And sadly, our government doesn't seem to take a position with them. So we have that problem in downtown. You have people just laying on the streets, camping out with a tent, just leaving everything there, and it is not a pretty sight. It is not a pretty sight. These are just other things that we've done through the years. Preaching at the gospel meeting. This is at one of our sisters' homes in Guguletu, where we had a soup kitchen. Sandra would get up at 3 in the morning, start cooking soup, okay, and we would feed 400 people with soup and sandwiches for the day. That's what Sandra does as well. You can see the amount of people standing in a line over there. And what is interesting is that oftentimes, we would be running late or something, and we said, okay, we're going to start with the soup, and they'll stop me and they'll say, please, we need the word first. Please, we need the word first before we have the soup. Just give us the word first, And it's amazing how people have listened. They stand by their doors, they walk past, but they know exactly. One of our neighbors, or one of the neighbors over there, the one at the pink house, said to us, you have come to show us the love of Jesus. Okay, correct me? Looks like, sorry. That's why I bring her along. She's fulfilling a biblical duty. She's a helpmeet. Dina was part of this class. Bontierville is one of the congregations also, and that's very close to where you all were when you were in Cape Town, close to Langa, just about 3-4 minutes from there. It's also a congregation where I spent many years of my life, as a youth leader in that congregation. Bookmakeri, this is a 1-cup head covering church, okay? But I'm one of few people that get to go there. Let me say why, and that is because we have explained to them there's absolutely no reason why we should fight with one another because of the cup. It's all about the contents. And in fact, when it came to COVID, they had a bit of a problem because they couldn't share the same cup. You know what I'm saying? And they thought each one could just go and do it at home. And I said, we have said it's about the fellowship together. It's not an individual, you go and you take it at your home. And so they have come on board. In fact, we've even had some of them that attended the Bible school. And, we are working with them. They are not as strong as what they used to be, because I think people are starting to see that, there are just some cracks in some of the things that they hold to. This is also, a lot of what we do is to train people. We do not have the luxury to say, okay, I'm going to be here today and we're not going to do, we're driving 9 hours, I preach on a Sunday morning and that's it. No, we've got to do some training. So it may be a whole of Saturday afternoon or Sunday after services like that, and we training, be it with a young man, be it with the older men, help them, so that they can also know how to do things, kind of like a Timothy class for the kids or for the young boys, and also for the more mature people, we, do sermon structure and all of those things. We also provide them with materials that we have, and that we get from places like Truth for Today, as well as Mission Printing. This is in Zambia, a group of preachers over there that I did a men's training class, and this was they don't have a building. This is a school that they rented for the day so that we could have the training there, and then they leave and they go to their different villages to be able to preach. The Grosvenor Church in Atlantis, which is also in Cape Town, this was when we spent some time with them. Some of you may remember this picture from a previous slide presentation that I did over here, but this is also one of the congregations that we have worked with. That's also... Central Congregation is where we had the school for a very long time. We housed a school there when we had in-person classes, but this was during a lectureship where I was preaching at that congregation, and I think it was when we got back from Zambia, I had an assignment over there to preach and teach for them. They will be having a preacher now at the end of this year. It's the first time that they're having a preacher probably in about 7 or 8 years. Okay, but they will be having a preacher. I think it's from January, if I'm not mistaken, that he will take up that position. So the Cape Bible School, as I've mentioned, is a Bible school that we started in September 2010, and we have had more than 120 students that have gone through the school. Dina has sat in some of those classes in person. She was kind enough to buy us a little, it was really cold in the winter, and she bought us a heater, a propane heater, just to heat up the room because of the cement floors and everything that was so cold over there. Sandra, like I said, has taught in the ladies' classes. I direct the school, but we also have some US teachers that are now helping us and assisting us with teaching. We do have a partnership with the Brown Trail School of Preaching. Kevin Rhodes, under his directorship, you know Heath Stapleton, and other instructors, Randall Morris, Pat McIntosh, all instructors at Brown Trail, and then also a good friend of mine, Mike Roberts, who has now just moved to North Texas, all right? And they teach in the school because all classes are now done online via Zoom. And that's what I did yesterday morning from 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. And I was a bit sluggish when it got to 4:30 a.m. But yeah, I needed to do that. And then Kevin will teach on Thursday, this coming Thursday again. It's only a part-time school, and the reason for that is we cannot promise people in South Africa support. We cannot promise them that. But what we did say to them is, we will help you to become equipped, and we will train and help you and give you as much as what we can. But we don't want you to give up your job thinking you're going to get support. Okay? We are not in a position to offer you support in that way because the standard of living in South Africa is quite high. It is quite high. It's quite expensive to live there as well. In Cape Town, it is also high. And depending where they live, we do not want to make the mistake of telling people, go into preaching, become a minister because it's going to pay you. No. You need to have the love for God if that's what you want to do and share God's word with people and not for money for that matter. This was our very first class at Cape Bible School, some of the students of our very first class. The gentleman at the back there has since gone on, the brother has since gone on and came to a school in
Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, in Memphis, yes. He went to the school over there, and he's doing a fantastic job at the moment with a congregation in Cape Town called the East Reach Congregation. And so we are very thankful for that. These brothers are all actively preaching, all active in their congregations, all of them. And so we are thankful to God. That is what we do at Cape Bible School. It's about practicums. They need to be trained. We evaluate them. They don't always know when I'm going to show up and I'm going to critique them, or Sandra's going to show up, or we're going to send somebody just to, tell us how they're doing like that. Our encouragement is to help build the body. And so sometimes they are not able to attend all of the classes, but they are able to catch up with that because of the recordings that we do. They have to catch up with classes. Okay, did I hit something I wasn't supposed to? Okay, let's go back. Okay, don't know what happened here. Okay, we'll just stay there. Some of the work that Sandra does is a sewing project. I believe Jessica took out some place mats or something like that she's shown that some of the ladies has done through the years of the things, and that is also creating employment for people. And that's what we do. It's to empower them to be able to take care of themselves and not just look to others to always be giving them for that matter. Again, here, Sister Jocelyn and Sister Margaret, they've been, Sister Margaret has been a seamstress for over 25 years. Sister Jocelyn is actually a retired nurse, but also really likes to do, needlework and just all kinds of stuff like that. This is a contact that we received from World Bible School here in the U.S. and was asked to follow up. And we had, this is Brother Stephen Peterson, and I reached out to him because he was closer to her than where I was. And so he followed up with her, studied with her for about 3 weeks, and then she was immersed into Christ. Sandra has visited with her when she and her husband were having some challenges, and, has encouraged her, and I'm still in contact with her, to this day. On the road again. That's our famous slogan, just like the Sojourners. We're on the road again, and that happens very often. This is the road to Namibia, called the N7. Dina knows that road. It's one straight road, just one. Once you leave, you just stay on that road all the way, and 12 hours later, you'll still be on there. But it's, there are other churches and towns that we get to go to sometimes, and we can pull over. And when we're tired, we have to, sleep over sometimes, because it does take on you. All that driving does take on you, and you have to rest and, recuperate, and then just go on from there again.
You're about 12 minutes now.
Okay. Still 12 minutes left?
Yeah, about 12 minutes, right. So if you want to take questions.
Okay.
How do you want to do it?
All right. I'm going to stop right here, so that... Okay. Okay, yeah. So let me just do this quickly. My wife has begged me to do this, so I have to be nice to her. Sunset School of Preaching has developed a device called the Papyrus Solar. It's like a little radio device. It costs $500 each, okay? But it's all, and now I'm talking about the teacher of the old Sunset School of Preaching, where it has over 400 hours of lessons on there, including songs and everything. So I give these to people and preachers where they are alone. They take it like in Zambia. They turn up that volume. It is also solar charged, and they leave it there, and people can hear the gospel message and whatever teaching. It also helps to enhance their learning because of things that they may not know, because it's the whole 2-year curriculum that Sunset had done when people were in school, preachers were training. That is what they have put on there. So that's an absolute asset for people to have. And we are thankful that we have been part of that. And to date, we have distributed close to about 50 of them to different people across the different countries. We also do the Papyrus device, and let me get to the bicycle evangelist. In 2016, we started with this. We bought bicycles, saw the need for it. There are places that you cannot go to by car because you just cannot get there. And so we bought bicycles, and we give an evangelist a bicycle, give him a World Bible School book, a Bible, give him the courses, give him mission printing materials. When he leaves there, he's fully loaded. Give him a bag of maize and hit the road, okay? And he'll be away for a week or two, preaching the gospel, going from village to village. And again, we have this past time that we have been there, we had we had just bought 12 bicycles this time round. The cost of a bicycle is approximately $350 each, and that's what we do. Now, you can get cheaper bicycles, but they don't last. So, we've gone down that road, and no, you don't want to be, you need to be penny wise and pound foolish is the saying. We just didn't want to do that. I'm going to get to raise snake. I'm trying to get there.
This time round was the first time that we are giving women's ministry.
Yes. The women do a lot of things. They go and visit. They teach. They teach women. There are more women in Zambia that are Christians than men. Okay? And they teach women, and they help in so many different ways, going to take care of people that are in their homes, that are ill, all of those things. And this is the first time that we have given women bicycles. There was a bit of an issue with the men because they wanted the bicycles, but we said to them, we need to be fair, and we need to try and help everybody in the kingdom so that more can come to Jesus and more can be part of the kingdom. And so they understood that. And my wife was very passionate about it, and they weren't happy about it, the men, some of them, because now that means I may not get one. And we can't, we only give a person a bicycle one time. Only one time. When your bicycle is broken, we don't have money for another one. We can only give one. And we have a record of who gets, and there's a system in place so that we don't, waste the resources and people just take advantage of that. Ray, I think last year I was able to go to Zumanana, which is a church in the Kazangula district, which is just below, southeast of Botswana, the Botswanan border. And there's a church there, but it's a community that has been neglected by government for many, many years. Those people struggle. They struggle, but oh, what a bunch of beautiful people, Christian people, community people that love the Lord. And not all of them that are there are saved, but they have a desire for God's word. And we went back there this year, and I'm going to see if I can get this thing to work. No, it's not. Why is it not? I was trying to get the video to play that you could see what my wife was trying to do. See if I can get it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, go ahead. So my wife is not an African woman, a tribal African woman, you can see. The difference. Okay. Show the difference. How about the These women carry that 25 liter of water on their head. They'll have baby on the back. They will have maybe a can or 2 gallon cans in their hands with water. That's what they do every day. They had to walk 7 miles to go and get water. 7 miles every day. And so it was really hard for us to see that. And then we distributed some food and Bibles there, and they sent me a video clip asking me if there's any way that we could help them just get some water. And we did some investigations, and we wanted to find out more. And so I was able to speak to some people, and also with the help of Healing Hands International, they assisted us in going there and doing a borehole well point for them that they can draw water. The problem is that the water table has not dropped. But a little further, another, 3 or 4 miles from there, there's plenty of water over there. And so there's another congregation that is also close by there. And we are hoping to be able to raise some money to be able to put in a well point over there, and so that people can have water. These are our brethren. And if you must see how they live, there's just so much need over there. And we know we cannot eradicate, all of the troubles that are there and the struggles that are there. But, we wanted to help. I'm going to just really move up. There's so much to say, but, please feel free to. I think that's what Ray wanted to see. So right over there, if you see the house, that house over there, that's on the Canadian mission. And that's where we live this time around. And I've been over the years many times. I've stayed there when I'm in Colombo. That's a black mamba. That's a black mamba. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. Okay. This brother over here, this one over here, he's just about 6 foot tall. All right. And now you can see how long that snake is compared to him. All right. And this brother on the other side, Brother Chuku, is the one that killed that snake. But there are a lot of snakes around there, spiders, cobras, whatever you want to. You got all of them there. God's creation is there. Okay? So yes, you have to be careful and you have to watch out. And that's the thing that I keep telling my wife, because I said, you're not in the city. You're in the bush right now. So you've got to keep your eyes open. Because the thing about the black mamba can stand on its tail. And you would be looking on the ground looking for a snake. And it's up there, and that's how it attacks you. And so that's why it is so dangerous, because people are not thinking about the snake being up there. But elevates itself and stands on its tail like that. And it's one of the most, I think it's the most dangerous snake as far as I know. So yeah, Chuku is known for killing snakes. He's killed a lot of snakes, okay? He knows exactly how, he's mastered the art in that way. Let me stop over there and let me just ask if there's perhaps any questions that anybody has at this time. Can you all understand this funny accent? Okay. All right. Yes, Jessica.
Different ways that we from here can help you. What are some more of those? I know that we talked about the bread tag, bottle caps. What are things we can do here?
There are many, many different things. I didn't put everything up there, okay? I didn't, because we just don't have, these were some of the bigger things that we were looking at and that we are thinking about. Now, you may wonder, for who is this? This is not for South Africa. This is not for Cape Bible School. There is a new preacher school over there that we are helping. There is a need in the northern part of Zambia to train people to go there. It's uncharted territory. There are lots of people living over there. We need to get preachers in over there. And one of the things I have not told them, I have not committed to them that I will give you support. But 500, that's for 10 people, and that is $500 per person. And that would be for them to be in school for 2 years. For 2 years. This is not for them to be able to live in luxury, no. This is for them to get their training and help them with some food, and that's basically what it is about. And that's what I would like to do to assist them, because I do know of that need that is out there. Zumanana, the kids walk, 20 miles? No, 20 kilometers. 20 kilometers, they walk every day, and to get to school.
It's 20 kilometers from the village that they live
To the tarmac.
and then 10 kilometers
To the school, yeah. So it's about 30 kilometers they have to walk a day. Yeah. They now go, the parents are concerned about it. They can't afford to send their kids every day like that. The kids now have some sort of boarding house that they go to. It's not like you have a board, and not like a US boarding house of any kind. There's nobody that really supervises. So a 9, 10-year-old kid goes to school with a little bit of maize meal for the week and maybe a piece of cabbage or some collard greens or something to eat to sustain themselves, and stays there from Monday to Friday and then come home on weekends. The Zumanana Church says we cannot endanger our children like that. So many of the people, the community kids, has been killed by the cars and snakes and whatever you name it, and they've decided to start having classes in their little church building. Now let me tell you what their church building is. It's just a hut. It's smaller than that area over there. It's smaller than that, okay? With sticks and reeds and all kinds of things like that, and that's what they do. They need school supplies, pencils, crayons, anything like that. The difficulty that we have, and I was chatting to Ray about it, is that when we travel with these things, it's weight. Then you have to pay for it. Then when you get to the border, you get charged customs for it and tax for it. So it becomes more expensive bringing it in, where you can actually get those in some of the bigger towns. You can buy those things, and it would cost you less at the end of the day. So, I don't like asking for money. My wife will tell you that, but that's the reality of the matter. It's just not logical to carry all those things. It costs you more, then it's better just to send, the money, and we can purchase it there, and the government will be happy because they will get their taxes off it anyway. So you saw the bicycles over there. Tonga Bibles is the Bibles in the local language in Zambia. We're only asking for 100 Bibles. It costs, there you can see, work out that. You see how much it costs for Bibles, okay? It's expensive. For the local people, they cannot afford that. I get lots of Bibles from the US, and there are brethren and organizations that I work with that send me English Bibles. It doesn't help them because many of them can't read it. They need to hear the gospel in their own mother tongue and understand it.
If I may,
The Tonga Bibles that we're really, really wanting to raise money for is to get it into the hands
Of the women, yeah,
get to have a Bible of their own. So
most times. Women don't have a Bible. They don't have a Bible. A man will have a Bible, but not the woman. And we would like to equip our sisters in Christ to have Bibles so that they can study the Word and also know what God expects of them and teach the children also.
So if you are buying a Bible, sisters, please indicate that it's for the women. Very clear about it. For the women.
My wife is very passionate about the women, and she wants to make sure that they get their portion because she's scared I'm not going to give her the right portion towards her for anything. But no, it's not that. It's just that we have seen this tremendous need, and that is what we would like to, do for that matter. Yes, Anita.
So is the problem for the women getting supplies, Bibles and what have you, is it because Sandra talked about it being a patriarchal culture, and so because the men are on a different.
That is true. That is true. We are trying to correct that, but it's going to take a long time. People have been so ingrained in this patriarchal, and they're African before they're Christian, and in their mind, women are there to go and work the fields. They don't need to be educated. The girl child is still being disadvantaged, or the female is still being disadvantaged in those areas, and we are teaching them that that is not God's blueprint, for His people. So there has been some changes, but I don't think significant enough. Okay, not significant enough, and those changes comes with a lot of resistance, a lot of resistance.
So what you're doing helps allow you to get in there to help discuss that.
Yes, yeah. So when I'm in Zambia, what happens is that I didn't know this in the beginning, but I get called to the radio station, and it has an FM radio station and frequency, and it covers a huge part of Zambia. And we have discussions and talks on there, and I get to preach. When I'm preaching, they actually record it and sometimes just live, send it out like that. And we talk about these things. We talked about in 2019, why are you marrying your kids off at 12 and 13 years old, these girls, to a 30, 40-year-old man? Well, it's because of, poverty, and they consider the woman to be someone that they can trade off and get some money. That's what happens. And that has changed so much so that a lot of noise was made in 2019. I didn't think I was able to go back there because I had a government official that said to me they didn't like what was being said. Patriarchal problem.
Are you saying they paid for the children to be their wife?
Yes. So what happens is that a young girl, 12, 13 years old, the father's struggling, cannot make his, have enough money. So he takes this girl without her permission, without her knowing, and he says, okay, you give me so much money and you can have my daughter. You give me so many cows or cattle and you can have my daughter as your wife. That still happens today, sadly. Okay? But we are trying to make that difference in the church so that people can know that that is not what God intended.
It's slow change.
And a lot of times it's a polygamist.
Yes.
The polygamist that is buying the child.
Yeah.
Child bride, So he's 45, 50 years old, and she then becomes the younger wife of a tribe of 10 or 12 wives.
Oh.
So we're trying to eradicate that kind of culture in the church,
By the time they're 16, 17, 18 years old, they are tired. They are exhausted. They walk so far. These girls, when they're 20 years old, they look haggard. They just worn out. They just worn out. And it's not like they're starting to see that there's better for them. The men are starting to see that. But, like I said, and you said, it's going to be a hard change. It's going to be a long time before things are really going to change dramatically. But we have to keep at it. We can't neglect that. So our work is not just preaching, it's also talking and teaching them. Sometimes you have to tell them, you've got to learn to wash yourself. Clean yourself. It's not good hygienically for you to do that. So is our time up?
It's past time, yeah.
Okay. We have to unfortunately stop at this time, but we will be glad to answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to, at the time, I'll ask one of them to just, continue, and we can maybe put the PowerPoint on a loop, and if anyone wants to watch and look through it. But please feel free if you want to talk about anything or ask Sandra or myself anything, we'll be glad to answer you as best we can. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Communion.
Sorry, yes. So your communion cups that you use here, Dina has for many years sterilized them, and then she packs them into Ziploc bags, and it gets shipped to South Africa, all right, to us. And we have supplied churches throughout South Africa and across, Southern Africa. And when COVID came, it was a problem because we couldn't get communion cups anywhere. And people were phoning us because they heard, because, we had cups, and we don't have cups anymore because we had to distribute it, because each one must have his own cup and he must clean it, because we don't want, anything to spread like that. So, Jessica, that's another way that you help. And thank you for doing that. So, I know here it gets trashed, but after it's sterilized, it goes back and it gets used, and they don't use it one time. They use it until it's broken. Okay? That's how they use those cups. Have I said it right? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention this morning.